Ted Bundy was a man who seemed like the last person you'd ever expect to be a killer. By day, he was a charismatic law student, often described as charming and even attractive. But by night, he became something far darker, a relentless predator who preyed on young women across the country. His good looks and friendly demeanor shattered the stereotype of what people thought a criminal looked like, making it hard for anyone to believe he could be capable of such horrific acts. Bundy's crimes shook the nation, leaving a lasting impact on how we view our own safety and the trust we place in the people around us. This is the story of one of America's most chilling and deceptive predators, a man whose actions still haunt us decades later. Theodore Robert Bundy, later known as Ted Bundy, was born on November 24, 1946. From the very beginning of his life, it was enveloped in mystery and entangled with complicated family relationships. Since she was quite young and single at the birth of her son, which was shameful for those times, the mother had to send Ted to his grandparents. They were presented as his parents, and Ted's mother was introduced as his sister. This strange family arrangement created a confusing atmosphere for little Ted, who was supposed to find out many years later the truth in this respect. Many psychologists consider this first instability and the deception in the family life at the initial level contributed to the disturbed development of the personality. As he grew older, Ted would go with his mother to Tacoma, Washington, where he started to cope with deep inadequacies, feeling somehow out of place. Some manipulative and devious behaviors started manifesting themselves during that time. Some years later, these features were supposed to be substantial attributes in his life. Ted Bundy was known for being both intelligent and ambitious. He attended several universities, working hard to build a successful life for himself, and eventually enrolled in law school. To many, Bundy seemed like the ideal student, smart, well-spoken, and charming. People who knew him described him as likable and confident, traits that allowed him to blend in easily and gain others' trust. But beneath this seemingly perfect exterior, there was a much darker side to Bundy that few people knew about. As he moved through his studies, disturbing urges began to surface. He became involved in petty crimes like theft, which allowed him to develop skills in manipulation and deception. These small crimes may have seemed harmless at first, but they were actually early signs of something far more dangerous. While Bundy appeared to be an ideal student, a deeply troubled individual was hiding behind the facade, someone capable of far greater harm than anyone could have imagined. Ted Bundy began his killing spree in the early 1970s, preying on young women in various states across the United States. His approach was as chilling as it was clever. To gain his victims' trust, he would often pretend to be injured or in need of help, sometimes using a sling on his arm or wearing a fake cast. This made him appear vulnerable and harmless, which lowered people's defenses. Once he had lured them close, he would convince them to help him carry something to his car or give him a hand in some way. This facade of innocence allowed him to get close enough to strike with terrifying speed and precision. Over time, Bundy's crimes grew bolder. He began attacking women in places where it seemed impossible to commit such crimes unnoticed, and yet he remained elusive. Despite increasing numbers of disappearances and mounting fear in the communities affected, law enforcement struggled to capture him. Bundy's charm and his ability to act normal made it difficult for people to believe he was capable of such horrifying acts. By the time authorities began to realize the full extent of his crimes, Bundy had already left a trail of devastation across multiple states. In 1975, Ted Bundy was arrested for the first time, marking a major step in the effort to stop his terrifying crime spree. But Bundy was not easily contained. His intelligence and boldness allowed him to outsmart authorities, leading to not just one, but two successful escapes from custody. The first escape came in 1977 when Bundy, using his sharp mind and resourcefulness, managed to jump out of a courthouse window while preparing for his case. He was captured again within a week, but his desire for freedom was far from over. Later that same year, he attempted a second, more daring escape. This time, Bundy was being held in a Colorado jail. He found a way to slip out of his cell, escaping into the night and disappearing entirely from law enforcement's reach. From there, he traveled to Florida, where he would commit some of his most horrific and brutal murders. Bundy's ability to evade capture caused a wave of fear and fascination across the nation. People were terrified that someone so dangerous could slip through the cracks so easily and continue his violent attacks while on the run. Even as a wanted fugitive, Bundy's cold and calculated mind allowed him to evade capture, adding to the horror of his story and solidifying his place as one of the most notorious criminals in American history. In 1979, Ted Bundy's trial became a landmark event, drawing massive public attention as one of the first courtroom dramas to be broadcast on national television. Millions of people tuned in, captivated and horrified by the man accused of such brutal crimes. Bundy, ever the manipulator, chose to represent himself in court rather than rely on a lawyer. This move wasn't just about legal strategy. It was a display of his narcissism and need for control. By acting as his own attorney, Bundy could directly question witnesses, argue with prosecutors, and put himself at the center of the drama, something he seemed to relish. During the trial, experts diagnosed Bundy with antisocial personality disorder, a condition characterized by a lack of empathy, remorse, and a deep-seated disregard for the rights of others. This explained Bundy's chilling detachment when discussing the details of his crimes. Unlike most people, he showed no remorse for the pain he had caused or the lives he had destroyed. Instead, his focus remained solely on finding ways to avoid the death penalty. Bundy's calm and calculated demeanor in the courtroom, combined with his self-assured and almost smug attitude, left many people stunned and deeply disturbed. It was as if he saw the trial as a game he intended to win, regardless of the suffering he had inflicted.
Sure, it works, and you've got to have faith it'll work, or else you'd be reduced to some kind of, mumbling idiot.
Does that mean ultimately you want to get involved in the criminal justice system?
Well, the funny thing happened to me on the way to labor law class one morning. I got 2 weeks in the spa, and yes, I intend to complete my legal education and become a lawyer and be a damn good lawyer. I think things are going to work out. That's about all I can say.
After years of eluding justice, Ted Bundy's life finally came to an end on January 24, 1989, when he was executed in the electric chair at Florida State Prison. For many, this marked the close of a terrifying chapter that had haunted America for over a decade. News of his scheduled execution spread quickly, and large crowds gathered outside the prison to celebrate his final moments. People held signs, cheered, and even set off fireworks, expressing relief and a sense of justice for the countless lives Bundy had impacted. This reaction reflected the depth of the fear, pain, and anger he had caused, not only to his victims and their families, but to communities across the country. Today, Ted Bundy remains one of the most infamous figures in true crime history. His story has left a lasting impact, serving as a chilling reminder that evil can sometimes wear a friendly face. Bundy's ability to appear so normal, even charming, changed the way people think about safety and trust. His case had a profound effect on law enforcement, forever altering the methods used to investigate serial killers and understand criminal psychology. Bundy's story continues to serve as a warning. Appearances can be deceiving, and danger doesn't always look the way we expect it to.